Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy stream. Today we are playing with a rather spicy donation deck list from Kinda MTG, known as Chateauneuf du Pot, plus or minus a little bit on pronunciation there. So, at its core, this deck is an Eladamri, alright, got it third time, Eladamri's Vineyard ramp deck. So, at the beginning of each player's pre-combat main phase, they get to add green to their mana pool. The idea here is sort of along the lines of Nic Fit, where you are hoping that you can utilize the mana better than your opponents can. I mean, I think the Vineyard excites everyone, right? So, what sort of things do we have to, it's right here. It's right here. I literally just said it like 5 seconds ago. So what sort of things do we have in order to go and pump the mana into? Well, we have like Hex Drinker and a Green Sun package, as well as a couple of like large creatures and planeswalkers, most notably Jace the Mind Sculptor. But something kind of interesting here is that we also have Isochron Scepter. Now, we played a blue-white control deck a couple of weeks ago with Isochron Scepter, and it was really bad. Going down a card was rough, and having enough mana to actually activate it was rough too. Will that still be the case when this thing is around in most games, giving us extra mana to offset the mana activation portion of the Isochron Scepter? I don't know, but I'm hoping the Isochron Scepter feels better this time around than last time around. Alright, so what sort of things do we have to put under the Isochron Scepter? Notably, Isochron Scepter does only copy instants, so you're not seeing any ponders here. Instead, we have Dimir Charm, which can counter a sorcery, destroy a creature with power 2 or less, or do a weird sort of reverse ponder sort of thing. You look at the top 3 cards of target player's library, you put one back and put the rest into that player's graveyard. So like you can target your opponent with that technically and try to make their draws worse. It's a little weird. I'm doing well, and I hope you are too. Your donation was spicy, and I look forward to it. Okay, rounding out the main deck, the last thing I want to mention is just the Shark Typhoon. That's a great thing to funnel approximately a bajillion mana into. As far as the sideboard goes, it's just mostly bug stuff. The big thing that I want to point out, though, is that we have a couple of Into the Royals, which can also go under Isochron Scepter, as a generic and repeated way to answer something and really pull ahead on mana. I'm not sure how this deck is going to go. I think we're going to have fun playing it one way or another. I'm a little worried that we're going to see some early Uros from our opponents because we help fuel them out via this. Oh yeah, a banger. That's a good way to put it. Chateauneuf du Pot is most certainly a banger. And hopefully at least a couple of times we can set up something cool, like an Isochron Scepter Assassin's Trophy lock that ends up destroying all of the permanents. Why only one Uro? Well, we effectively have 3 because of Green Sun. So we kind of have multiple Uros. And Suffer No Fools, thank you very much for following. I missed you a second ago. Anyway, folks who end up watching this on the YouTube end, I hope you enjoy. If you've been enjoying my content, please consider leaving a comment or a like real quick. That sort of stuff really helps out with my analytics. The number of likes you receive is often very strongly correlated with how well the video does. All right, let's battle. All right, so we're going to do the thing. Turn 1, game 1 of the league. Gonna dump that Vineyard right into play. Inject it into my veins. Look, sometimes there's some things that are suboptimal about some of the deck lists, and that list I 5-0'd with. there were mistakes in there. Ah! Fair. All right, not that list. I need Chateauneuf du Pot. I can get an Uro, get a bird. I could also just put food chain under Isochron's scepter. I could brainstorm first. Yeah, maybe let's brainstorm first. Try to find something more interesting to put under the food chain. Uh yeah, we'd also just like run out of stuff to put under it real quick. I want this in a bit. Maybe this control magic is too ambitious. I need a second blue, so let's get blue black here. Do we even have a Rexage effect in the sideboard? No, we have an oof. All right, yeah, there's an early Uro like I was scared of. This feels like the classic 1/4 deck. We might be able to do better than that. I can make a Hex Drinker real big, real quick. Yeah. Food Chain is real good at using extra mana. Real good. Honestly, Food Chain has felt real good. Um, I've told my opponent that I will concede to a win con for X equals 1. Nope, they're just getting a couple of Griffins this turn. Yeah, I mean, like, the Eladamri's Vineyard is not a commonly played legacy card, right? And that's because, like, there are plenty of decks that can take advantage of this mana. By a similar token, like, sometimes you sack a Veteran Explorer, and then your Miracles opponent is like, I cast Entreat the Angels for X equals 5, 20 you, and you die. Alright. So, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm just going to start by leveling that up to 3. Oh, that's so inconvenient. Am I actually going to use this? I feel like I probably need to use this. I don't really want to attack. I don't want to trade a Griffin for a Hex Drinker. Or my opponent could just, like, block with one, exile it, and then, like, lose nothing for it. Alright, so now opponent will get another Griffin plus an Eternal Scourge. I don't know if we're just going to beat that amount of value. Uh, it's hard. I guess the Elder Gargoloth is pretty good. Okay, so the second Manipulate Fate feels a lot worse than the first. The first one is like an Ancestral that tutors for 3 creatures that you want and gives you another card as a bonus. My opponent gets to, like, untap their Mist Hollow Griffins. Yet another one. Is Elder Gargoloth enters the battlefield too? No, it's attacks or blocks. Life's bad. Alright, YouTube folks. So our opponent exiled their Mist Hollow Griffins a bunch of time and also put Eternal Scourge into play. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I do need to fetch in order to put that Elder Gargoloth into play. And then we're going to hold this back to block Eternal Scourge. So for those of you watching on the YouTube end, this card has a lot of text. When it attacks or blocks, I can get a 3/3, 3 life, or draw a card. Oh. Alright, so I just, like, have to draw live next turn. Or I'm just dead to Griffins. One life per mana spent on the card. What's not to love? Yes, I do expect to be dead. I'm just going to cast this rather than try to put it under Isochron Scepter. Like, I can get rid of one of those. That technically keeps me alive, but that's not a real answer. I don't know what I'm looking for. It's not that. Okay. Uh... So... I don't have great sideboard options. Just being totally honest. I can't stop the food chain, and I can't permanently Okay, sorry. I can't stop the food chain once it's in play. And I don't have something like a Rex Age or a Knight of Autumn or anything of that nature to like tutor up and just like kill it. Okay, yeah, I guess we have Assassin's Trophy. That's true. I want Ooze. Maybe I Force of Negation because Food Chain is so spooky. Like, my opponent's better at using the mana than I am, so all these need to come out, so I think that's a starting point. I need more Fatal Pushes to try and kill Griffins. That better than, like, this? Might be better than Demir Charm. Okay, what about Thoughtseize? Thoughtseize is medium. Crown in the Lock is, I guess, a way to kill Griffins, as long as my... Oh, we're a 61 card main deck. I see, I need one more. So, I think Veil is medium, Thoughtseize is medium, Collector Oof is medium. There are X win conditions that aren't Walking Ballista that my opponent could be playing, like Hydroid Crassus. And if I board in Oof, my Isochron Scepter doesn't work. I think I'm going to play the Thoughtseize over the Oof. This doesn't feel keepable. Okay. Help me, Brainstorm, you're my only hope. Yeah, we're gonna put a Brainstorm under an Isochron Scepter and just pray. Or are we gonna try to Brainstorm and fix this? Maybe we try to Brainstorm and fix this and find something better. Oh no. Alright. So I am now pitching the Scepter. And we're gonna hope to control magic and Jace our way to victory. Oh god. Plan E. E for Eladamri. Oh no, they're in the sideboard. Uh... E for even if we assemble it, we're dead. Rough. Alright. Our opponent has drawn Bird Cestral Vision. What are this deck's good matchups? Are there any? I assume we're pretty good against decks that can't possibly use green mana. Do I have blue already? I do have blue already. Rude. Rude! Let's be honest. Many of the donation deck lists don't have good matchups. Now I can't control magic and Uro. That's actually quite good. I just like can't leave this around, right? My plan is to control magic 2 missed hologriffins, so I need to kill this. Maybe I don't need to do it yet. If I take 1 more damage or something, I don't think that's the end of the world. Joke's on you. In my off time, I'm playing Smash Bros right now. One of the other teachers at school was also a tournament level Smash player for a previous game. And when we both realized that we were really into competitive Smash, we both started playing Ultimate. So gotta get good in the off time, you know? That's sweet. So now this can just go and get another walking ballista. Oh, they're just grabbing a noble hierarch. Okay. I mean, I was a part of the Smash community. I would not describe any Smash tournament I ever went to as like wholesome. Alright. We've avoided taking 5 damage this turn. But the sacrifice clause on this means that I don't get to keep my creature. Oh, we don't even get to steal it. That was a removal spell. The fact that this can tutor up a combo piece and then also serve as like a protection spell for your big combo term is really sick. I've only been playing Ultimate for about 2 weeks. I don't know that I really can say that like this is my main with confidence. But I really like Mithra and Pyra. Um, they're a character kind of like Zelda from previous games where you can transform from one thing to another. And one of the options is like a really fast, quick character, and the other. Hello? Is this how I win? Do I just like cast a Shark Typhoon and then cast Control Magic? Hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, all right. I am not going to cast Control Magic this turn. I'll take a hit for 5. Then I'll take Shark Typhoon, take a hit for 6, and then hopefully stabilize the board from there. Oh, I know exactly how much this is going to hurt. Going to hurt 11 much. Oh no. Gonna be close. This is like breaking the rule of Shark Typhoon. The first rule of Shark Typhoon is you don't cast Shark Typhoon. Yeah, I really like Pyra and Mithra. Um, Joker seems pretty good. Feels a lot like Sheik from Melee to me. Um, Lucas is fun. DK is fun. Fight Club, but with sharks. I'm gonna have to send that information to my good friend Bosch and Roll for thumbnail purposes. I hope you understand. Oh god, please put that Uro in play. I want it. I think I want it. Wait, hold on. That's weird though. Because I make one 4/4 shark that doesn't actually stop Noble Hierarch shenanigans. Oh no, the Caracas! Hmm. Caracas is really good. That's very unfortunate. Okay, so it looks like there's just one walking ballista. Oh, oh. If they didn't do that, I could have Assassin's Trophy Caracas stolen this. Ah. All right. So like, I can kill this, then I get killed by these. Well, I guess technically not, right? I Assassin's Trophy this, I get a chump blocker for one of the birds. Or I junk one of these, chump block Uro, give them a card. Maybe that's better. Yeah, so I want to do it before they attack. Life's bad though. The Caracas here is just keeping me from reasonably doing anything. Okay, I will concede to that. My opponent doesn't even need to go infinite with it. They can just nug me. GG's. All right. So we're on the draw here with a kind of medium hand. We have Force of Will for some degree of security. Yeah, that's fine. Could be playing against Elves. I do not believe I am muted. My audio meter is going up and down appropriately. I think that one's on you, always drawing cards. All right, that doesn't get to happen. Wirewood Symbiote plus Elvish Visionary is just too strong. No worries. Assassin's Trophying something isn't really great. I'm gonna hold up Drown in the Lock, and I think I might have to do kind of a loosey-goosey end-step Brainstorm that I'm not gonna like. Yeah. Oh god, that's another one. I can just Assassin's Trophy, Elvish, Visionary now, and guarantee that they can't get the Wirewood thing going. Think I'm okay with that. Need green, blue here, Tropical Island. This is not, um, this is not optimal, shall we say. Oh, yeah, I could also just get, the Shepherd. I guess that's problematic in a different way. I'll Drown and lock that and kill that, though. Oh, wow, what a punish. Hello, hello. Allosaurus Shepherd is so good versus blue decks. So I played around Wirewood Symbiote and got punished real bad. I should have just Drowned and locked. And countered the spell itself. Now I can't just point Drown and lock at this because of this second Wirewood. Alright, I'm gonna hold up Drown in the Lock for a natural order. As long as my opponent fetches, I can counter a natural order with it. But, like, this is 1 mana away from just happening in the first place. Oh, right, it's uncounterable because this card is busted. Save me, Brainstorm? Yeah, every time I have played a blue deck versus Allosaurus Shepherd, I think I have just lost. That card's brutal. Alright, I need Plague Engineer. That's just amazing. I think I want Thoughtseize on the play. I think I want Fatal Push. And I'll probably just play Scavenging Ooze. Because I sure as hell don't get to do this, right? Like, I can't give the mono green deck more green mana. That seems like it gets me killed. Don't think Cling to Dust is particularly good. Don't think Control Magic is particularly good. I think this is what I'm rolling out. 61, right? Of course. I can force a negation, I guess. Don't love it, but I think that's what's happening. There's now 2 rounds in a row where I've had to, like, sideboard out my namesake card. I don't think this hand is good. Green is not going to cast this or this. Why are we playing 61? Why are we playing Isochron Scepter? There are questions. Sometimes they're just difficult to answer. I do not see this hand winning. Like, this is a card that goes back, and then I'm keeping a hand that has a Scavenging Ooze and a Force a Well. Let's find one of those 2 Plague Engineers. It's not a Plague Engineer, but this is the best hand I've seen so far. I keep this. And Isochron Scepter Assassin's Trophy every turn? Is that what we're doing? That might be what we're doing. Yeah. There is a plan. It's a slow plan, because we boarded out our mana ramp, but it's a plan. Alright. The engine has arrived. We'll see if this ends up being good enough. I'm gonna hang the Dryad Arbor back. We're not gonna win this game on individual points of damage. We're gonna win this game by destroying every single one of my opponent's permanents. If I have anything to say about it. Which I might not. I could die here. Oh, that's not so bad. Alright, let's blow stuff up now. At least we have this Metal Assassin's Trophy. Oh, thank you very much for following. We're gonna blow up the Elvish Visionary. I don't want my opponent to randomly draw a bunch of cards. That's a no-no right now. No, 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 no. This is probably just an Archon, right? Oh. Do I have any edicts? No? No edicts? No edicts. Okay. Alright. Well, yep. Okay. Good. Good game. Well played. Oh, Allosaurus Shepherd is good. Also, Progenitus. No, Allosaurus Shepherd. But it ain't bad. One Eladamri's Vineyard. Keep. The rest will work itself out somehow. Chat is harsh. The goal is now to win a game. We haven't done that yet. The night is young. It's another green deck. Oh, fuck. Do this one. Alright, let's send Cling to Dust back. Let's send a land back. Alright, so I want an underground sea here. We will attempt to Assassin's Trophy this sucker. Phil, what decks are you good against? Decks that don't have green mana. Phil, what would you like to play against? Aw, dog. Give me them green decks, though. No, 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 no. Notably, some of these spells that are in our deck are like blue-black, and so the green mana doesn't actually apply to them either. Captain? Damage report? How bad is it? Give it to me straight. Oh yeah, I haven't had time to read the announcement about the Legacy Pit Open. I saw in passing that it was going to be like a $10,000 tournament. I think in early fall. I want to say like September or something like that. That's pretty cool. Don't know. I don't know that I'm going to be quite ready for that many people at that point. Like CDC guidelines still aren't really there for gatherings of that size. Hopefully they will be by that time. All right. This one destroys a creature with power 2 or less. Let's try it. We'll point this here. Oh wait, no, I have to do that the other way. Yeah, I mean that's what Missouri MTG has done with his various large events. I have 2 mana floating. I'm already playing around days. Stop it. Let's go! Yeah, the blue-black cards are definitely a little rough. Like, they don't play in with this side of the equation. They're supposed to play in with this side of the equation instead. Alright, opponent, I'm F6'd. You got another pump spell? You do, I'm dead. Also gives them mana to activate Inkmoth Nexus. What a nightmare. Maybe we need some cards with a lot of green symbols. You know, let's get some Strangleroot Geists, some Predator Oozes. Yeah, I don't know. Like, this fueling this is cool. Groundbreaker, the Ball Lightning. Oh, new Nexus. Alright. We're very dead. Oh, did I not successfully concede there? I think my opponent got to kill me first. Alright. Plague Engineer is sick. Fatal Push is sick. Force of Negation into the Royal, Thoughtseize are all playable. Yes, absolutely. There's just a quick copy paste. All right, I guess like I'll start with what comes out. Cling to Dust isn't good. Opt is kind of slow. I'll keep all the various removal spells. I think Control Magic is just too slow to be meaningful. That would put me back at 61. Uh, let's try this. A bunch of my like life gain stuff like Uro and the Elder Gargoloth just feel less good here. Okay. Hydroid Crassus. I like where your head's at. Yeah, that's fine. I need to focus on the infect creatures until we get something like an Isochron Scepter going. I probably want to fight that on the stack. Well, could let it resolve and then just Plague Engineer Elf. But let's fight that on the stack. Very much appreciated, Skull Clamp. I look forward to it, and thank you for supporting my content. Black, blue. Yeah, so I'm going to be on spring break this next week here. All right, that resolves. And now I'll try to resolve Plague Engineer and put it on Elf. So I'm hoping to get a good amount of recording done this week. Well, Arkin, we're having fun. We're not winning, but we're having fun. I am going to still name Elf here. I mean, I hope we're winning the hearts of the people. Ryan had a pretty sick video this week. He played a ball lightning tribal deck. That list was baller. Ha 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 ha. Oh no. Yeah, I think he made a great thumbnail for it, and the people seem to really enjoy it. Oh no. Well played, opponent. I'm just going down. Rough. Once again, we play a land. All right, you following so far? We play the land. We play the Eladamri's Vineyard. Then our opponent plays a fucking forest, and I'll lose my shit. It has resolved. Teaching this year is hard. Uh, it's been a year of a lot of learning for everyone involved, myself included. When this year is done and over with, I will have been happy to have had this experience, but it's been a little miserable. Imagine they cast 2 hidden gibbons. All right. Well, that's something to do with mana. uh, Sword of Fire and Ice can be good against control magic. You're just getting Hex Daddy going all the way. The thing I don't like about that is that I don't get to fully level up this turn. I would prefer to have 5 mana so that I can level up to at least play around Swords to Plowshares in 1 turn cycle. Since I'm already vulnerable to Wasteland, I'm not going to play around it here. I'm going to go ahead and replace this for another card. I was really hoping to find something else to do. Now that I could beat a Swords to Plowshares, though, in a different way, let's grab the Hex Drinker. Yeah, I mean, Skull Clamp MTG. I don't want to go too deep into this, but the gist of why is that serious strategic content appeals to a very, very narrow subset of people, even if you are one of the absolute masters of your craft. So, like, let's take my D&T content, for example, right? Like, I'm one of the better D&T pilots in the world. And when I make D&T content, it gets a fraction of the views that a mono black deck that I stream would. And so if you're trying to monetize your content, it's really hard to do that while staying 100%, absolute pinnacle of legacy content. Like all of my metrics went up when I shifted away from Death and Taxes to just playing more variety. And so, like, all of us really care about strategic content. Like, that's something that's very important for all of us. But, like, being the guy who plays D&T, 3 streams a week doesn't grow your audience, right? Like, the D&T people find you, and then, like, you've kind of exhausted everything from there. So you really have to diversify if you want to build an audience. Oh yeah, I mean, like, obviously, I was the sort of person who could just continue playing, D&T every day forever and be perfectly happy with it. Um, I can funnel at least 4 mana into this next turn. I don't think I need to level up now. I mean, think about like Justin Gennari, who just hosted me, right? Like Gennari is an awesome vintage player, but as far as like growing his audience and keeping people entertained, it can't be all PO all the time, right? You need to mix it up. You need to draw other people in with variety. Like I don't remember the exact numbers, but back when I was running like that's awkward. Can't counter that. Opponent only has one card in their graveyard. All right. Oh wow, they're taking out the Vineyard, not the Hex Drinker. Deal, deal. One card in graveyard. Inconvenient. Assassin's Trophy can't target your own stuff, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm somewhat likely to like play a couple more Monster Train runs on stream at some point. But I don't think it'll ever make it back to YouTube. The analytics on it were a disaster. I really need my opponent to have another card in graveyard so that this Drown in the Lock can be an actual removal spell. This game is real touchy if my opponent draws a land. Otherwise, I think I can just tap everything into Hex Drinker and go. So I attack like this so that if my opponent decides to double block, I can blow them out mid-combat. They don't do that. In which case, I just level this thing up and hope for the best. Skyclave Apparition is so good. My opponent's seen two of them already. There could be one more in the deck. That's what I did not want. That makes the clock real tight. They use 3 mana to Assassin's Trophy this. 1 mana to pump Hex Drinker to its final level. I have my opponent on a 2-turn clock. They can somehow produce 1 more power worth of stuff. Life is bad for me. What beats me if I don't do this now? Some sort of weird mana tithe sort of tech. I'm gonna go ahead and Assassin's Trophy this now. My opponent gets to know about the land. But if my opponent has some random Teferi's protection sort of card, I don't want to get got by it. They shouldn't, but you never know. Second main deck sword that my opponent naturally has in hand would get me. I haven't been playing D&T myself lately, but if I was, I would be testing the blue-white sword in the sideboard. There's a lot of lightning bolts and Swords to Plowshares running around right now, and yeah, that's fine. That doesn't do anything. Yeah, I guess they... So if they can connect with the Jitte, that doesn't kill me, but it gains them life. If they can plow their own creature, I can counter that with Drown in the Lock if they let me untap. Two Drown in the Locks. Alright. Yeah, I played both Melee and Brawl competitively. I mained Sheik in Melee and Falco in Brawl. Yeah, we're on the scoreboard. We've gotten a game win. Should be easy from here, right? No, first one's hard. Alright, I want Plague Engineer. I want Fatal Pushes. I probably need Collector Oof. Damaging Ooze and Thoughtseize are options. I don't want Cling. I don't want Opt. Demir Charm is not particularly strong. Or sorry, Drown in the Lock is not particularly strong if my opponent's not putting cards in graveyard, but hopefully bringing some of this sort of stuff in helps with that problem. What do I think of Control Magic? My opponent's creatures aren't particularly large. It's kind of bad value. And like, there's also things like Mother of Runes, which is good against Control Magic. Like our Wisp also very good against it. Backclave Apparition, same story. Yeah, maybe we can't play this. Where does this much put us at? This much puts us at 62. Man, like Skyclave and Flicker Whisk are both going to be so good against Isochron Scepter. Uh, what's the plan? Plan is survive a handful of turns and then like resolve like Jace, Gargoloth, Shark Typhoon question mark. Maybe I go down on this. Maybe it's just like not reliable despite the fact that it's an engine. Can I cut them all? What if I do like this? A little light on things to do with my mana if I do this. But I'm bringing in the Collector Oof, yeah. For what it's worth, I think my opponent did punt that game. I think if my opponent takes the Hex Drinker instead of my Eladamri's Vineyard, I think they win that game. Scornful Egotist, you can use Assassin's Trophy to blow up basically anything, right? Including lands. And so if you get to repeatedly use it, and I'm talking like you use it 5+ times, you can really go to town and literally leave your opponent with 0 permanents. This hand doesn't do anything. This hand. This hand, though. I'm good with this. We're going to toss back the Questing Beast since it's a legendary creature. Yeah, it's cool. I don't know whether or not it's actually going to happen, but it's cool. Oh, wow, my opponent mulliganed really deep. We'll play Polluted Delta on turn 1. Uh, the reason specifically is Leonin Arbiter, which I know sounds crazy to say, but I need all 3 of my land drops quite badly right now. And so if my opponent is doing something crazy like playing Leonin Arbiter, it's so important for me to play around it here. And the same could be true of like Ancient Tomb plus Aven Mind Sensor or something crazy like that. Yeah. Can't play Demir Charm off of Forest. Demir Charm can be very important for a mom here. I'd prefer to use Demir Charm over um, one of my Assassin's Trophies, so I am going to play out Underground Sea. This opens me up to Wasteland a bit, but my opponent is down on cards. Like, down on a lot of cards. How does he do it? How does he know? We get Bayou here. What did you lose to in your round? Fucking Demir Charm, man. Just got me. I wasn't ready for it. Don't know what the cat just broke, but the cat just broke something. Alright. I believe I am not going to deal with this vial. I believe that that vial just lives there, and I deal with the creatures that my opponent draws. That can resolve. Okay. So now, given that from my opponent, I believe this changes my plans, because now I just want to not get got by, like, a Flicker Wisp here. So we're going to start by casting our Metal Assassin's Trophy. That gives our opponent another land, but that's not super relevant here. Now I guaranteed get the Mother of Runes. As well as invalidate a bunch of things like Thalia and Recruiter of the Guard that can come afterwards. I think my opponent's last card is Swords to Plowshares based on their play patterns. Louise, thank you very much for following. I hope you're enjoying the content. Our hope is to just draw a land next turn and stick Jace on an empty board. Beautiful. Slightly awkward, as I need to get blue here. Cast Jace, but both of my Underground Seas are gone. Opponent's last card might just be a Council's Judgment. So I'm gonna just, like, guaranteed get value out of this Jace before something like that happens. Now I'd just like to do something like put a Hex Drinker into play. Questing Beast. Questing Beast, good. Just deploy that sucker now. While also leaving up, like, a Fatal Push. That's fine. Yeah, like, I've also gotten out of the point where, like, a single Wasteland or Rishadan Port spooks me, right? So I have black, I have blue, so I'll be able to cast my spells. That's the best news here. Oh no. That's not what my opponent is looking for. I am just gonna continue to brainstorm. My opponent's deck seems to be plenty happy not giving them creatures. We're gonna floop an Elder Gargoloth into play too. Sorry, Gargoroth. Now it looks like we're a reasonable deck. Ignore what happened those first 3 rounds. I'm the bully here. Yeah. GG's. Like, opponent mulligan to Oblivion and then did not draw more creatures. Like, the only creature they drew this game was Mother of Runes, and I answered it every time. Um, okay, I have an opening hand that has, like, a Dimir Charm and a Force of Will as early interaction, and then some of this other stuff. Like, Control Magic pitches to Force of Will, Dimir Charm is the early game, and then I have a Questing Beast. What does this hand beat? Stands pretty respectable versus a combo deck, and kinda against a lot of other stuff. Yeah, Summoning Sickness is a huge deal. I don't know, I don't have any cantrips. Eh. I'm not excited about this hand. I don't know that this hand is bad enough to go back, though. Um, Another thing is, like, what do I wanna do regarding, like, Wastelands and Stifles with this opening hand? I think if I get Wastelanded, it's just gonna, like, suck. I'm just gonna get it out of the way if it's gonna happen. Like, pretend to be Delver for a turn or two. Hoo-hoo. Let's let's Force of Will this Delver, operating under the assumption that they might fight back, and then I can win a fight over a Dimir Charm later. Yeah, see, this is the sort of thing where I want Vineyard. Like, the only thing my opponent can do with the green mana is, like, cast an Uro. And even that requires, like, more mana and other setup. Yeah, I will be destroying that. I will do it on my turn, though. So I can play around days. That'll play into Force of Negation, though, so, like, you can't have it all. No, no, do not tempt God. I will find another instant later. Okay. Now that I know that I'm playing against Delver, I am going to go ahead and play around Stifle. Fetch a Bayou, and then we can't get Wastelanded off of any one particular thing. Oh, holy shit, I want to control magic this so bad. Alright, I don't get to play around Stifle. Yep. But I just needed to attempt that control magic before my opponent had a chance to, like, try to find ways to protect it. Force of Will, Force of Fill. Don't worry about the confusion. It's natural here. I do think we have some non-bows. I'm willing to take 4 more to attempt to Isochron Scepter and maybe walk into a Stifle. Yeah, I am. 'Cause if this Isochron Scepter gets countered instead of the Assassin's Trophy, that's pretty sick. Phil, did you see the green black Vengevine deck that was running around earlier this week? Seemed like it would be your jam. So Stifle is a counterspell now. That's awkward. I want to play this turn. That would mean using Isochron Scepter on my own turn, so I can play around days. Alright. I just need this bonus mana that this thing provides. Oh, baby. Alright, so now we're hoping that, like, Delver doesn't flip, and that my opponent doesn't have lightning bolts. Hey! Hey now! Not get carried away. Damn it! Alright. I want push, Plague Engineer, and Ooze for sure. I do not want Opt. I don't love Cling to Dust, despite the fact that it does have text. I don't love Control Magic. I might cut both. I feel like because of Stifle, I should probably go down one of these. That would put me at 61. I only want to see like one Isochron Scepter in a game, and I'm fine with seeing it relatively late. Yeah, let's try this. Man, Stifle's so good against my deck, though. Like, holy crap. Yeah. It has a bunch of lands. I'm going to keep this. If you start looking at the numbers too closely, you might scare yourself. You might not like what you see. I don't know, like a hand that just has a bunch of lands so that I don't just like fold over and die to Stifle and Wasteland is appealing in its own right. Like my deck is just full of removal. There's a lot of removal at CMC too. I think the keep's justifiable. Ooh, that's good against me. I'm going to fetch around a Stifle here. Dryad Arbor is pretty awkward. Also makes my Fatal Push slightly worse, but there aren't going to be too many things that non-revolted push doesn't hit that revolted push does hit. Things like Brazen Borrower. Because some of the bigger stuff in the deck, like Hooting Mandrills, is going to dodge Revolted Push anyway. Play Drown in the Lock this turn, and Dryad Arbor. I don't hate that. And I don't ram Jace into Daze. Dryad Arbor is just, like, very awkward. I wish it was any other land. Now if I get, like, Lightning Bolted too, just, so devastating. Drown in the Lock, huh? Drown in the Lock after my opponent delves away 5 things. That resolves. You think maybe they have no counter spells, so I can just Jace bounce this and everything will be fine? I don't mind that. Yeah, let's start there. Notably, opponent is at 6 due to Sylvan Library. My opponent started to pay a cost on something. A Brainstorm, that's fine. Not that I can do anything about it if it wasn't fine. I feel pretty confident that my opponent doesn't have Lightning Bolt, because my Dryad Arbor would be dead. Alright. Where's my Vineyard? Chain Lightning, though, is the draw this turn. Rough. Feel pretty dead. Can cycle a Shark Typhoon in this turn cycle. And the 1/1 isn't that embarrassing, since my opponent is at 6. Fuck. I was told there would be Uros. I need a Vineyard. Oh god. That gets rid of the Uro that's in the graveyard too. And that gives my opponent life as well, so I can't just, like, poke them with a shark 6 times. Alright, Brainstorm, find some lands. That's a land. Don't judge me for what I'm about to do. I'm not proud of this. Not proud of this. Okay, put 1 on top. Right, 1 on top. Alright, that gives me a 4th land for Jace. Or Uro, if Uro somehow magically is not exiled by Klothys this turn. Goodbye, Uro. I won. Is what winning is like? Alright. We attempt Jace. Opponents had so much time to find a counterspell, though. I don't expect this to resolve. If this gets countered, I take 6 in my turn cycle, and then I die to Klothys the following turn. Yeah, that's the nail in the coffin there, I think. The Demir charm mode of take the bad stuff off the top of the library, like, got me a little bit deeper into this game than I would have otherwise gotten. But it wasn't quite enough. Fair. Alright. GG's opponent. Alright, so we beat Death and Taxes with Chateauneuf du Pot. But as a whole, this deck did not feel very good this league. Let's see if we can get most of this stuff on the screen, and I'll kind of talk about some of my thoughts. Let's ignore the sideboard for a minute. So I think this deck is pulling in too many different directions. So there's a Green Sun package, but it's not a very big package, right? So if we look, there's not something at, like, say, CMC2 in the main deck that's a banger. So there's no Scavenging Ooze here for the mid-range plan, for example. There's no card here like, say, a Collector Oof or a Reclamation Sage that really gives you that, like, clutch versatility. Similarly, with this Isochron Scepter package, the idea is to, like, use the Eladamri's Vineyard mana to activate this every turn, and then, like, really go to town on the opponent's permanents. But with these spells right here, like, the mana doesn't go towards casting those, which can make things awkward. And some of these things, like the Drown in the Locks, are a little bit situational based on how your opponent is using their own resources. So if you're playing against something like a Chalice deck or Death and Taxes, this doesn't look as good as you might want it to be. I also think that a couple of things that are in this deck are just, like, not strong enough. So, like, Opt, for example, I believe I boarded out every single round. Cling to Dust was more or less the same way. The last time I played an Isochron Scepter deck, I found that, like, just having cute things that could go under Isochron Scepter, like Fogs, was maybe not where I wanted to be. I just wanted powerful cards that I could play most of the time. Especially since against, like, the Collector Oof and the Karn decks, the Isochron Scepters have to get exchanged. So overall, I feel like we're this mid-range control deck that's less torn in a little bit too many directions. Where, like, I either want to lean harder into the Green Sun package or harder into the Isochron Scepter package, but, like, trying to do both is a little bit ambitious. So if I were to take another crack at this, I would be looking at retooling these 10 cards and trying to find another package of things that gives you things to sink mana into. I don't have the deck list up here still, but I just straight up played a 4x Hex Drinker Rock deck last week, right? And like that's the sort of card that just plays so well with this. You know, is this the sort of thing where you play more Hex Drinkers, more things with activated abilities? Do you want Tireless Tracker in here because like funneling that mana into clues is really strong? I'm not exactly sure. I also don't love Shark Typhoon. Like I get that that card is really good. I've been very impressed with it, but in this deck specifically, if you want to use the Eladamri's Vineyard mana, you need to cycle on your own main phase, which telegraphs the shark instead of like doing it at your opponent's turn, where you also got the held up mana for like Drown in the Lock and Dimir Charm. But I don't know that this is the best fit for this card either. Um, Control Magic is also a little bit weird. Felt like an overcosted removal spell in a lot of our matchups, but we did almost live the dream of stealing an Uro with it, which would have been sick. As far as the sideboard goes, sideboard feels okay. I don't know whether or not like Into the Royal should actually be there. Like I feel like the Assassin's Trophies and maybe Abrupt Decay ends up in this deck too. Kind of covers a lot of the things that Into the Royal would be covering anyway. So like I don't know if there's other better ways to be spending sideboard slots. I would have to really think about what's missing from the deck in that regard. Fine and Andy also might have a great point. This just might not be a good time to play this deck, right? Because so many of the control and mid-range and even tempo decks of the format right now are green. So maybe this is just a time where trying out this is just at too high of a cost. Because we played against 4 green decks this league, and then Death and Taxes, which also could take use of this as like colorless mana. Main deck for Carpet of Flowers, you say? Hmm. Hmm. I mean, I can get on board with that sort of jank. Although I think that's like $240 worth of Carpet of Flowers. So, yikes. Anyway, for those of you who watched the YouTube version of this, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider leaving me a like or a comment. That sort of thing helps out with the analytics a whole lot. And if you're really enjoying my content, please consider doing something else to support it, like a donation deck list. Have a great rest of the day.